Hey there, I'm estate planning attorney Paul Rabelais, and in this video, I am going to address how but I have lots of auto insurance coverage and an umbrella policy statement you might make after your child gets into a car wreck may not keep you from losing your shirt. So as an estate planning attorney, I get asked occasionally, how can I protect my assets if I get sued? And you know, there are tens of millions of lawsuits filed each year in America, and we live in a litigious society where it's pretty easy for anyone to file a lawsuit against anyone else for anything. Most of the lawsuit/asset protection requests I get come from someone who was already involved in something that may give rise to a lawsuit, for example, a car wreck or some other matter. When you wait until something happens to try to protect yourself from lawsuits, it may be too late. It's just not as effective as if you took the asset protection action prior to something happening. It's like trying to buy life insurance after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's just not going to work. Now, first of all, the laws that affect what I'm discussing in this video can vary by state. So this video is being made just to make you aware of a potential asset protection and liability issue out there. But if this is something that is important to you, then you may have to investigate further your state's rules regarding who is liable and responsible for death or injuries to people resulting from negligence in the use or operation of a vehicle. So here's an example. Let's say you've worked your tail off for the last 25 years and you're 48 years old, and you have, let's say, a $4 million estate. A bunch of money in the bank, brokerage accounts with investments, rental real estate, and you own all or part of a business. You have an 18-year-old child who you bought a vehicle for. You put that vehicle in your name. You don't put it in their name because you don't want them to be able to sell it and keep the proceeds of the sale. You called your automobile liability insurance provider and you added the car and the driver to your policy. Your child then gets into an accident in this vehicle and injures someone badly. You get sued because you are the owner of the vehicle, even though you were not driving the vehicle. But with your umbrella insurance coverage, you have $2 million of insurance coverage. Great, but in addition to your $2 million of liability insurance coverage, you have a $4 million estate. And let's say the injured plaintiff gets a $6 million judgment against you. The insurance company pays the $2 million they are responsible for, and you must pay the remaining $4 million of the $6 million judgment from your estate. Some people mistakenly believe that you can only be sued for what your insurance coverage is, but that's not true. So you lose all your real estate, all your investments, all your money in the bank, and your business, minus any assets that your state says are exempt from creditors, perhaps like some equity in your home and certain retirement accounts. But it's not a pretty sight, and it would be hard for you to recover from something like that. Now let's change it up a bit. Let's say that when your child turns 18 years old, you donate the car that they are driving to them, and you title it in their name, and you have them purchase an insurance policy in their name. You might pay for it, but the vehicle and the insurance is in their name. They are an adult, so they can own their own car and they can buy their own insurance. You may get them to purchase significantly less liability insurance because they have no assets of their own to protect in the event a judgment against them exceeds their coverage. Now, after the accident that badly injures someone, the plaintiff gets a $6 million judgment against your 18-year-old. The plaintiff gets the minimum insurance benefits and nothing else, since you are not liable and your 18-year-old, who is liable, has no assets that the plaintiff can take. In fact, no guarantees here, but perhaps the plaintiff and the lawyers do not incur the expenses that are involved in getting a judgment against the 18-year-old who has no assets to seize. But the result is that you protected your $4 million estate. Now, personally, I suppose I rolled the dice with my kids. My wife and I have 5 amazing children who are now 31 down to 21 years old. The oldest 3 have all graduated from law school and are business lawyers, so they were all in school until they were 25 or 26 years old. But at one point, when my youngest child was 16, I owned 7 vehicles, one for each of me, my wife, and our 5 children. They were all in my name. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have looked hard at having them each put their vehicle in their name on their 18th birthday and getting their own insurance policy. Now, would the insurance costs have been more or less had I kept them all on my policy with the high liability limits versus having them own the vehicle and insure it at lower limits? I don't know. I don't think anyone has really figured out how all the auto insurers charge. But this is not necessarily all about how to pay the least amount of insurance premiums. It can be more about how to protect everything you have worked for by shielding what you have from the liabilities of your 18 to 25-year-old children. And I suspect that if you have the kind of income that allows you to create a $4 million estate, then trying to nickel and dime your life insurance premiums is secondary to protecting everything that you have worked for. Note that if your child driver is a minor, for example, if the age of majority in your state is 18, then your 16 or 17-year-old child driver typically cannot own a vehicle in their name and cannot have an insurance policy in their name. So this strategy of shielding your estate from the bad car accidents of your children may only work once your children reach age 18 or the age of majority in your state. Also note that every insurance company and every insurance policy in every state can be different. So don't rely solely on this video when you make that final determination of how to structure the ownership and the insurance regarding your family's vehicles. But I hope I gave you some good food for thought so that you can investigate the issue and make an informed estate planning and asset protection decision for yourself and your family. Now make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell after you subscribe to make sure that YouTube notifies you as I continue to make these estate planning videos. Y'all have a great day and take care.